We were driving to our rental in the Arctic Circle in Norway at midnight. I overtook a slow car on the road. The driver turned on a floodlight and started following us for nearly an hour, through a remote village, down dead-end streets trying to trap us. When we finally got to the police station, 2 more cars were waiting for him on the side of the road. He had called for backup. In late summer 2019, my friends and I went to the far north of Norway, up in the Arctic Circle, a region called Lofoten, incredibly scenic, built for hiking and outdoor activities. We flew into the nearest city and rented a car, but population density up there is sparse. Large towns are rare. We were booked into an apartment in a small fishing village about a 7-hour drive from the airport. Long day of traveling. Everyone wanted to just get there and settle in. I was the only driver in the group. The speed limits in Norway are strict, seriously strict. On long, empty stretches of road with no other traffic in sight, I'll admit it was a struggle to stick to them. It was approaching midnight when we hit the main town in the area. Only 40 minutes left until the apartment. Most of the road had been single lane, but just as we exited the town, it briefly split into an overtaking lane. There was a Golf ahead of us. Slow. I saw the overtaking lane and took it, a completely normal maneuver. Once I was in front, I noticed the Golf getting very close to our rear. I stayed steady and figured maybe he was annoyed at being overtaken. People are sensitive on quiet roads sometimes. I thought he'd back off. He didn't back off. He kept coming closer, then pulling back. Closer, then pulling back. Then he turned on a large floodlight mounted to the roof of his car. The light flooded through our rear window and lit up the inside of the car, blinding in the mirror, impossible to ignore. I felt my hands grip the wheel a little tighter and said quietly to Jesse in the passenger seat, "Let's see if this guy follows us here." He followed us. I kept my speed steady and tried to stay calm. My thinking was that if I drove normally and didn't react, he'd eventually lose interest and back off. He didn't lose interest. I put some distance between us. Strangely, he didn't speed up to match it. The whole car had gone quiet. Everyone watching the mirror, nobody saying much. We hit a red light at a 1-lane bridge leading into the village. I watched in the mirror as he rounded the corner and sat behind us. I made a decision. I was not driving straight to our apartment with this person behind me. I was not letting him see where we were staying. I started winding through random streets in the village. Different turns, no pattern, just moving. He followed every single one. The fear in the car was no longer quiet. It was visible now on everyone's faces. One of the girls started crying. I kept my eyes forward and kept driving and tried to sound calmer than I was when I talked. It was past 1 a.m. We were in one of the most remote places I had ever been. We hit a dead end. I had to turn and face him. He tried to block us in. I worked the wheel and found a gap just wide enough to get through. As we squeezed past his car, I got a clear look at him for the first time. His face was completely still. No anger, no expression. His eyes just followed us as we went past, cold and locked onto us like we were the only thing on the road. One of my friends called the local police station. It was difficult. Wrong country, wrong language, remote area. But the operator spoke English and said an officer would take our details at the station back in the town we had just left. 40 minutes back the way we came. I drove fast. This time the Golf was right behind us the entire way. Not hanging back anymore, not playing with distance. Just directly behind us for 40 minutes in the middle of the night in the Arctic Circle. As we started seeing signs for the town and houses on the outskirts, the Golf slowed down. I felt something release slightly in my chest. Then I looked in the rearview mirror. 2 cars were parked on the side of the road at the edge of town, waiting. The Golf pulled up beside them. 1 car pulled out in front of the Golf. 1 pulled out behind it, a convoy of 3, all following us now. I said nothing. I just kept driving, following the GPS to the police station. I don't think I've ever concentrated harder on a road in my life. The GPS led us into an industrial harbor area. Warehouses, side alleys, dark parking bays. The police station was at the very end. As we pulled into the parking lot, we watched the 3 cars split in different directions. They knew where we were going. They had driven through this area before. The station was dark. No lights inside. Nobody visible. I sat in that parking lot in the dark with 3 cars circling somewhere nearby and called the operator again. She said an officer was coming. 5 minutes of watching every shadow and every entrance to that parking lot. Then a large officer came around the corner from the back of the building on foot. He was calm at first, professional. Then he saw the girls in the back seat and understood immediately that this was real. He offered to escort us out of town, went to get the police van. We started moving through the harbor area, past every alley, every dark warehouse bay. I could see the officer's van coming up behind us. Then 2 cars pulled out from opposite sides of the road simultaneously, and the Golf, the one that had started all of this, drove directly past us. The driver turned his head as he passed, the same cold, expressionless face, the same locked stare. I pumped the horn hard and hit the brakes, hoping the officer behind us would understand. A few seconds passed. Then the police van's lights came on. He pulled out to block the Golf from moving forward. Jesse jumped out and ran to the police van. I followed. As I came around the back of the van, I saw him for the last time up close. Average-looking man, Eastern European or Russian accent. He was already talking to the officer in a calm voice, opening his car door slowly as if none of this had happened. And as he got in, he looked at me and said in a quiet, flat voice, still staring at me, by the way. I stood there on the road at 2 a.m. in Norway and felt something I can only describe as the specific helplessness of watching something just out of reach. The officer explained that technically nothing criminal had occurred. Driving on a public road at night is not a crime. He took the man's details and gave us a direct number to call if we saw him again. That was all he could do. He escorted us out of town as far as he was able and then turned back. We were on our own again on a dark road in the Arctic Circle at 2 a.m. I checked the mirror every 30 seconds for the next 40 minutes until we reached the apartment. We locked the door and sat in silence for a while. The 2 extra cars are what I keep coming back to. Not the Golf, not the hour-long follow, not even the face and what it looked like. 2 cars parked and waiting. He called them. Someone told them where we were going, and they came. Whatever the 3 of them had planned that night in a remote village in the Arctic Circle, I am just grateful we found the police station before they finished planning it.